on the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast, brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy, proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten Conference. Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Shields, we're right there with you in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, and Cedar Falls. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
It's October, and that means basketballs are bouncing in Carver Hawkeye Arena, celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. Head coaches Lisa Bluter and Fran McCaffrey met with the media this week, and we'll hear much of that conversation on the Fight for Iowa podcast, sponsored by UIHC, Iowa Corn, Shields, and Athletico.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Get in the game with Hawk Talk. Join Coach Kirk Ferentz and host Gary Dolphin for 90 minutes of Iowa football talk. Wednesdays, 6:30 to 8 Central. Listen live on the Hawkeye Radio Network and Iowa Hawkeyes YouTube channel. Presented by View Rooftop.
Something big is happening. Introducing Hy-Vee Perks. Now, Hy-Vee Fuel Saver is Hy-Vee Perks. Get the same great benefits like fuel savings. Plus, save even more on hundreds of products store-wide with Hy-Vee Perks prices. Like Tide, H Perks price $9.97. And bananas, H Perks price 39 cents a pound. Make the switch or sign up for Hy-Vee Perks and start saving today. It's free and easy. Some restrictions apply.
Touchdown, Iowa! Hawkeye fans, put on your black and gold and get ready to fight for Iowa.
Johnson gets the corner turn. He's headed for the end zone. 10-5, touchdown. Touchdown, Iowa.
It's homecoming weekend, and the Hawks are ready to battle the Purdue Boilermakers. Join us Saturday. Our coverage begins at 12:30 on the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa women's basketball is coming off an historic 31-victory season with a generational All-American talent in Caitlin Clark. The Hawkeyes reached the national championship game in early April and are a threat to dethrone reigning champ LSU. Coach Lisa Bluter visited this week about how Clark can get better. How do the Hawkeyes replace post-All-American Monica Sonano and star forward McKenna Warnock, and the return of flashy guard Kelly Feuerbach from knee surgery?
So here we go again. Whether we want to or not, it's time to turn the page and go on to another season after last year's historic season. But what a way to begin this season. Right now we're starting ranked in the top 6 in the country and considered the big favorite, although this conference is loaded, and there's going to be a lot of surprises along the way. We start this season with every single game sold out in Carver Hawkeye Arena. We start the season in a week and a half with about 50,000 people joining us in Kinnick for the crossover. And as you also know, we start the season without 40% of our starting lineup. But we also start the season with the nation's best player in Caitlin Clark. Caitlin won every award possible last year. I'm so proud of her for that, but I'm almost more proud that she was an academic All-American. She was the CSC academic All-American of the year last year. And it's no surprise that she's been named as the preseason big player of the year as well. But a pleasant surprise is that we have Gabby Marshall back. Somebody that we weren't expecting to have back a year ago, and so that's really nice. She's returning for her 5th season of eligibility, and Gabby's been voted a team captain this year. She's considered one of our best defensive players. She's led the team again last year in steals for us. She's a knockdown three-pointer. You saw her make 7 threes in the semifinal of the Big Ten Championship last year when we defeated Maryland. Without her, we probably wouldn't have been there. So really, really glad to have Gabby back. And another pleasant surprise is Kate Martin returns for her 6th year of eligibility after missing her first with the ACL. Glad to have Kate back, but Kate is honestly one of the strongest leaders I've ever been around. She's a culture builder. She's playing like a pro right now. She really is. She's knocking down threes. She's physically defending hard, rebounding. I think you're going to see Kate just jump off the stat sheet this year. So how do we fill the void of Monica and McKenna? That's what everybody wants to know, right? I think there's a number of options. Addie O'Grady played some of her best basketball, I thought, in the NCAA tournament last year. 6'4", she gives us a greater defensive presence in the middle. But I'm also going to beg you, I'm going to ask you, I might even beg you, to not compare her to Monica, all right? Just like 4 years ago, I sat here and I begged you not to compare Monica to Megan. Monica came of her own. Give Addie time to come of her own. Addie is a good basketball player. She's a darn good basketball player, just like Megan was, just like Monica was. But comparisons don't do anybody any good, so just give her a little bit of time. Other good options in the post include Sharon Goodman, A.J. Ediger. What do we do at the power forward position? I think that one's pretty obvious. I think everyone saw last year just how good, how athletic, how fast Hannah Stuelke was. But this year, I think over the summer, she became a better basketball player. And that's what we needed for her to become. And I think now she understands the game better. Her shot is better. And so I think that we can use Hannah at the power forward, or if we want to go fast, we could also use her at the center position. This team has depth. Molly Davis returns for her 5th year. And Molly is playing very, very well right now. She looks so much more confident than last year. Knocking down threes, passing, getting to the rim. She's a player that we have to find more time for on the court. And Molly can really play the 1, the 2, or the 3. And so we need to accomplish that. We have shooters with Taylor McCabe coming back in her 2nd season. We have depth with Sydney Alforter, and Kylie Fearbach is also back after sitting out with a knee injury last year. We're also hoping for an injury-free year for Jada Gimpfe, but we have lots of depth, we feel like, and lots of options for us to go to. We have a tremendous schedule. 5 teams in the Big Ten are now ranked in the top 25. 3 of them are in the top 10. Our non-conference schedule includes facing number 9, Virginia Tech, a team that was in the Final Four last year, on a neutral court in Charlotte. We also will be hosting Kansas State. They're ranked 25th in the country right now. And last year they gave us a 1-point loss at their place, but they do return their center, their 6'6" center, so that's going to be a battle. Thanksgiving gives us 3 games in Florida. Have the potential to play Florida Gulf Coast, always a great team. Potential to play North Carolina, ranked in the top 25, and also the potential of a rematch against Kansas State. And I think another game to mark on everybody's calendars would be our game in Des Moines on a neutral court against Cleveland State, who went 30-5 last year, a really good basketball team. So we'll be playing at Iowa State, at UNI, hosting Drake. But 11 of the games on our schedule are against teams in the top 25 in the country right now. So we definitely have a very, very challenging schedule once again. But I know that Carver Hawkeye Arena will be as tough a place for anybody to come into and play, with every game being sold out. Of course, we're looking forward to a week and a half going out into Kinnick and having the opportunity to play in outdoors for the first time ever, and playing in front of hopefully 50,000. That's my personal goal, and hopefully we'll get to that. I think it could be a lot of fun for everybody involved to be a part of an attendance-breaking record. So, yeah, we lost a lot to graduation, but we also have a lot to be really, really excited about.
The crossover at Kinnick Stadium exhibition game Sunday, October 15th with DePaul starts at 2 p.m. and is expected to shatter the single-game attendance record for women's college basketball, pushing 50,000. Coach Fran McCaffrey and men's basketball is on deck for this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. First, a word from our sponsors.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
You don't have to go to the game to get a game program. You can download it now by visiting the Game Day page on HawkeyeSports.com. That's right, the game program is now digital and it's free. So check it out. Get the roster, the stats, and fascinating stories about today's matchup. Just go to HawkeyeSports.com and click on Game Day.
Hey, Hawkeyes fans, it's time to gear up for the season, so let's do it right. Jerseys, hats, hoodies, and more. Shields has everything you need to show your Iowa pride. Visit our fan shop online or in-store for the biggest and best brands in the game. You'll find the right gear to level up your team spirit with all the essentials for your pregame parking lot party. Shields, proud partner of Iowa athletics and football fans everywhere.
Are aches, pains, or injuries keeping you on the sidelines? At Athletico, our movement experts are here to help you turn your setbacks into comebacks and create a personalized game plan for your recovery. With no prescription or referral needed, Athletico Physical Therapy is where your comeback story begins. Get started today by scheduling a free assessment at athletico.com. Proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Upgrade game day with Hawkeye Village. Get game tickets, pregame extravaganza, all you can eat, drinks, and more. Perfect for groups or families. Limited availability. Call 800-424-2957 or email group-sales@hawkeyesports.com. Join the Hawkeye excitement at Hawkeye Village.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa men's basketball opens its season with an October 30th exhibition against Quincy College at 7 p.m. The Hawkeyes play 3 of their first 4 games at home, visiting Creighton on November 14th for the Gavitt games, that's Big Ten versus Big East, competes in a holiday tournament in San Diego over Thanksgiving, will face Purdue at Mackey Arena, and host Michigan in early Big Ten games, travels to Iowa State December 7th, and will team with the women for a doubleheader at Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines on Saturday, December 16th. Coach Fran McCaffrey is out of Murray's, but welcomes the Sanford brothers and Peyton and incoming freshman sharpshooter Price. While Connor McCaffrey has moved on, senior 6'9" forward Patrick McCaffrey returns. Tough man Tony Perkins, Josh Dix, DeSante Bowen, and Mr. Illinois basketball Brock Harding will handle the perimeter. Last year's Missouri Valley Conference scoring champ, 6'9" transfer portal pickup Ben Cricky from Valparaiso gives Iowa added size and toughness in the lane.
Well, he's a perfect fit for us, and that's why we went so hard at him out of the portal. Clearly we needed that position with the departure of Chris Murray. He's different than Chris, but he's big and physical. He's very athletic. He's got an unbelievable motor. He can really score. And this never really stops working. He's very competitive. I think most importantly, he understands motion. And as you know, if you're going to transition to motion, you have to have guys who understand how to play with 4 other people, how to play fast without making mistakes, how to move without the ball, how to screen and get people open, how to slip when they're switching. And that comes with experience sometimes, and he's obviously an experienced guy. So when you look at the fact that we have 6 new players, 4 of them are freshmen, so you have the learning curve that goes with any freshman. But, you know, when you get a guy like him, the learning curve is a lot shorter because of the experience that he has.
Fran, at point guard, are you expecting one to emerge, or do you think this could be a point guard by committee this year? Not necessarily by committee, but multiple.
We do have a lot of options at that position. You know, I think we'll see Tony there at times. I think DeSante and Brock and Josh Dix can all play that position. Normally you don't have that many options. Fortunately, all of those guys can also make shots. So sometimes they're sort of forced to be in a distributor position because they're not really scorers at all. So, you know, at the end of the day, we just want to push it. I think all those guys are really good assist guys with no turnovers. I mean, their numbers, you know, from when they started here, and then obviously since the young guys got here. They're really good, and we track that stuff every day. So I trust a lot of those guys, or I should say all 4 of those guys, to do a good job there.
How much has DeSante grown in the last few months, do you think?
Well, I think last year for DeSante, it was a good year in a lot of ways, but as the season went on, I think as you saw, we shortened the bench a little bit, and in all honesty, I probably should have played him more. I said that before. He and Josh Dix, I thought I should have played them both more. They both played a fair amount, but I think they both deserved to play more and should have played more. With DeSante, I think we played him at both spots. Sometimes when you bring a guy in and you only play him at one spot, he develops in that spot. For him, we were moving him back and forth because he can score and he can distribute. I think the growth part of his game is he's really moving the ball. He's getting rid of the ball more to our shooters, to our guys in the post, on the break. And he's been really good. So I've been really impressed with him.
Fran, you played Peyton a lot at the 4 on your foreign trip. How did that feel to you guys?
You know what, Tom, I don't know if I would say we played him at the 4. Maybe he lined up at the 4. Maybe he defended the 4. But he just did the same things he always does. He runs around and scores and really moves well without the ball. I will say this to go along with your question. He is, I think, really making a concerted effort to rebound a lot more. He's always been pretty good at that. We played him a lot at the 2 last year. It's a little bit harder, from there. So his rebounding numbers have been consistently good, in particular on the offensive end. If you want to be a good rebounder, you have to rebound offensively as well. So I think he recognizes that we might be playing essentially 4 perimeter guys and a big at times. So that's great because we can spread the floor and we've got a lot of guys who can make threes. But as you know, somebody's got to rebound.
What are just your early impressions of how all the new faces are coming together out of the foreign trip and early in practice?
Yeah, young guys have done really well. I mean, not surprised. Those, we expected all 4 of them to contribute. Brock has made a seamless transition. I think, Price Sanford, we all know what he is. I mean, those 2 guys are Mr. Basketball in their state. And Price can really shoot it, but he's also incredibly versatile. Owen Freeman, he's going to be an impact player for us. He's a really good rebounder, physical. He's starting to figure it out. And Lodgy, same thing. He's 260 pounds and knows how to play. He can put it on the floor. He can move the ball and cut. He's doing a little more posting up. He played a lot on the perimeter even at that size in high school. But he's along with Owen. Those 2 guys are first-class rebounders, big-time rebounders. And obviously we need that. When you look at the fact that, Connor, Chris, and Phillip played 3,000 minutes, that's a lot of minutes last year. And so we need some people to step in and make sure we can rebound in this league.
Fran McCaffrey starts his 14th season as head coach with the biggest and deepest team he's had, which bodes well for a program that loves to race up and down the floor, piling up points. Rebounding and defense are always points of emphasis for improvement. More Fight for Iowa in just a minute.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
How would you like to be able to listen to the Hawkeye Radio Network while synced up to your TV in the comfort of your own home? Go to syncmygame.com to find out how. That's syncmygame.com.
To anyone passing through our state, fields and fields of corn might be what they see. But the people who call Iowa home know it's so much more. Corn is ethanol, a homegrown, renewable fuel. Corn is delicious pork, beef, poultry, and dairy. Corn is in 4,000 products we rely on every day. So yeah, our highway views are full of corn, and we're proud of it. Because corn grows Iowa. Show your support for Iowa corn farmers at iowacorn.org/fan of corn.
When you're out of town and want to keep up with the Hawkeyes and other college sports, be sure to download the new Varsity Network app. Available for both Apple and Android. Listen to college sports live with the Varsity Network app.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa special teams whiz Cooper DeJean and linebacker Nick Jackson are Big Ten Players of the Week on special teams and defense. It was DeJean's 70-yard punt return for a touchdown with under 5 minutes remaining that broke a 16-all tie and pushed the Hawkeyes ahead of Michigan State. Jackson sealed the deal with a forced fumble moments later, and Iowa won 26-16. The Hawkeye defense didn't allow a touchdown and has given up a touchdown or less in 4 of its last 5 games. That's our Fight for Iowa podcast for this week. Thanks to our sponsors, and thanks to you for tuning in. I'm Gary Dolphin. Go Hawks.
You've been listening to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeyes Voice podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game day content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa, and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.